Hello, everybody. John Donnelly from Your Holistic Academy, and today I have as my guest Ken Faulkner. How you doing, Ken, today?
I'm doing well, John. I'm doing well.
Great. So, Ken, you're a clinical hypnotherapist and life and business coach up in Northern Ireland. Tell us a little bit about your hypnotherapy work.
Right, the hypnotherapy came in probably about 10 years ago. I was qualified as a hypnotherapist because I had my own issues, and hypnosis was one of the ways of clearing those issues. Uh, I was in construction, I suppose, all my life, and I have been a coach now probably about 4 years since I've left construction. But the hypnotherapy part sort of catches people's attention because
Yeah,
there aren't too many of us about,
yeah,
and it's a different set of skills than I suppose normal type coaching or counselling would be with the therapeutic side. Uh, I suppose the emotional side. I'm an emotional well-being or an emotional intelligence coach, and I suppose when we think about it, our emotional, where we are emotionally, our emotional well-being is really dependent on what is happening around us at any time. And even people with, problems within their business, if there are people who are successful, why can I not be successful? What am I not doing that I need to do to become successful? And quite a lot of that is down to making the correct decisions. But those decisions are made on the beliefs that we have. And that's one of the important things that we have. As you know, we've just published a book, Be Life or Belief.
that's right.
And really, when you look at the word belief, there's the word lie is right in the middle of it. And a lot of people will continue to tell them the lies. They're not good enough. They will never be able to cope. I couldn't possibly tender for that because such and such is tendering against me. Don't be buying that piece of machinery. Where will we get the sales once we up our productivity?
Yeah,
And these are all the doubts that we have in our own minds and the lies that we tell ourselves. So coming into the business world, every single business decision is still made by a human.
yeah,
And that human is going to have his own set of emotional beliefs, his own set of drives, his own motivators. And coming in as a coach to do that and to work with those people, uh, I believe that I suppose not only the hypnosis, but the other processes that I use gain access to a part of the mind which are not conscious.
yeah,
Okay, so if we were to change our mindset on how we felt and how we feel about things, if we could do that simply by just switching the mindset, everybody would do it. We wouldn't need coaches, we wouldn't need therapists, we wouldn't need counselors.
yeah,
But it's not a conscious process.
yeah, yeah,
It's a process below consciousness. So therefore, that's where you enter the world of the subconscious.
yeah.
I suppose enter the world of hypnosis and the world of different subconscious type therapies.
Yeah. So you've specific techniques kind of that you use to access the subconscious. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of different techniques. This week, for example, I was working with a 19-year-old student,
Yeah.
and really they're going through a tough time because a lot of their learnings now are online, and quite often we have to speak in the same language as who we're talking to.
Yeah.
And I think the education authorities have assumed that everybody just gets learning online. and they're all going to be able to perform all equally as well. But you know yourself, there's visual people, there's auditory, there's kinesthetic type people who do it, show it to me, let me have a go.
Yeah.
And I have been talking to a guy this week, and as well as that client who came in, and for example, when they were doing maths formula, you know, he said something to me, do you know where the omega key is on the keyboard? and I thought, no, I haven't a clue.
Yeah.
But that was part of his formula.
Yeah.
And he spent 10 minutes looking for this symbol,
yeah,
on a keyboard.
Yeah.
So why could he not have just written this down on a page, scanned it in at the end, or written it down on a page, photographed it, and sent it in as his final document?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was a hands-on kinesthetic guy. He was doing biochemistry, by the way. So it was all in test tubes. It was all in labs. And that's the part that he enjoyed.
Sure.
But now he's being tested on his ability to use a typewriter.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So the form of communication that he uses, which is hands-on kinesthetic, I'll write it out for you, I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Is now gone down into keyboard stuff.
Yeah.
And he's finding that very, very tough. And he's finding himself a bit low because he feels his grades are going to be a lot lower than what they could have been.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that was one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a people. What you described yourself as a people watcher, Kenny. Yeah.
I love watching people. I do. I have seen me. I live in a wee town, Larne. It's about 20 miles from Belfast, and I've seen me going up to Belfast on the bus, sitting there in the city centre, and just looking at people.
Yeah.
And coming home again, and had so much fun that day. Watching people watch other people is quite fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see people. I suppose they're judging other people in a way. You can see people looking at other people's shoes and the way other people are dressed, and and you can just see the mind read that's happening in people's minds.
Yeah.
When they look at other people, but I just love to see people's reactions and actions when certain things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because we'll all act and react to different things.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like when you're coaching, then you obviously you've got that empathy, if you like, with people. That's just probably your biggest skill, is it?
That would be a strong skill, and it's a necessary skill because, you know, we do have to realize who is in front of us.
Yeah.
We need to be able to talk to them in their own language, and you need to know what kind of language that person is talking.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. And there's something that we call behavioral flexibility.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm working with a teenage guy, I'm working with maybe a child, or working with a businessman, or working with a wife, or another counselor, or another mental health specialist, you talk to them all differently.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I even noticed during construction, because we had one of our bosses who had and maintained that everybody had to be treated the same.
Yeah.
And I actually disagree with that.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Everybody must be treated equally as fair. Everyone must be treated fairly, but not the same.
Yeah.
Some people need led a wee bit more. Some people need pushed a wee bit more.
Yeah.
And you need to find out how you're going to connect with that person to be able to coach them on the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it's about getting results, Kenny. You're sort of a results focused or performance focused, really, aren't you? Like it's about performance, really, isn't it?
I would be performance focused. You know, there's a lot of people, especially in the past therapeutic side. There's away from and towards motivation, And to be fair now, a lot of people came to me because of their away motivation. They were trying to move away from pain.
Yeah.
They were trying to move away from something which had hurt them. Their bankruptcy, they tried to move away from maybe a divorce. They maybe tried to move away from an injustice or recovering from a car accident. And that's away motivation where you're changing your mindset to stop looking at the past there.
Yeah.
But there's also towards motivation.
Yeah.
And that's actually knowing what you want. That's actually seeing a future and visualizing a future. And actually setting into plan what you want to do in the future.
Yeah.
And that's what we call towards motivation. And most people, to be fair, they use a mixture of both throughout their life.
Yeah.
We have got pain points that we don't want to go back to, so therefore we come away from them. But a lot of people need to spend more time looking forward.
Yeah.
They need to see what's ahead of them. You know, I'm in the car here, and I must apologise. There was an appointment come in through the post just yesterday, where I'm going to get my knee X-rayed.
Yeah.
Now there's no pain in my knee, but it crunches and it creaks and it cracks.
Yeah.
And I go up the stairs at home like a dog. I go up on all fours, and the wife just laughs at me. But she says, "Is your knee not sore?" And I went, "No, there's no pain in it. I'm just very aware that it's probably done. It's wear and tear, I think, over the years."
Yeah.
So that's why I'm sitting in the car here, John, beside the road, because we have my appointment's about 15 minutes in front of me. But I'm talking about looking forward, and I'm sitting here in the car, and my windscreen's about 4 foot wide.
Yeah.
Now, there's a wee 6-inch mirror up here.
Yeah.
That tells me where I've been.
Yeah.
There's a wee wing mirror over here to the right-hand side, and there's one over there to the left-hand side. They're telling me where I used to be.
Yeah.
So we can still have a wee glance to see how far we've come.
Yeah.
But the big picture is the windscreen.
Yeah. Yeah.
The big picture is where I am right now, left through the window, right through the window, and where I am right now in the present and where I want to go. And that's where people need to get their mindset changed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need to live in the present. They need to find gratitude for where they are right now, but focus on what they do want.
Yeah. And I see on your website, kind of, you say the statement, imagine, believe, achieve. So you've a sort of it's like a 3-step process there, yeah?
I don't know, it sounds like a Guinness advert, doesn't it? Imagine, believe, and achieve. It's like something you would see in the Six Nations that Guinness would put up. But that's exactly it. You have to imagine something. You have to know what you want.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you want, how do you know how to get there?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're just flapping about in life.
Yeah.
If we don't know what we want. So we'll have to imagine and believe that it's ours for the taking.
Yeah.
Now, when you believe that something is yours for the taking, you're going to do what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
If you don't believe that it's not yours for the taking, well, then you're not going to spend any time on your pursuit to get it.
Yeah.
And that's where my emotional side, my emotional coaching comes in. Because if our belief is we're never going to reach it, well, then you are never going to reach it. You know, there's a lot of people talk about luck, and I like to think that sort of, you know what, the harder you work, the more lucky you become.
Yeah.
The more focused you are on your goal, the more lucky you become.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's getting to that subconscious, Kenny, and changing those old conditioned habits, if you like, and those patterns, if you like.
Yeah.
So,
We have been conditioned throughout our life. We have been conditioned from the day that we were born, and we do have a set of values, a set of morals, a set of beliefs. And you know what? 95% of those are probably fine. They're good. And they do serve us. And, you know, the stuff that my mum and dad and my authority figures taught me when I was younger, yeah, I'm still holding on to those. it's just those other wee bits. It's
Yeah.
those negative things that they're there as well, and
Yeah.
everybody has them. You know, the what ifs, and they're talking about the what if, the negative side. But what if they actually achieve their goal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Forget about the mistakes that you've made.
Yeah.
You know, some people talk about their mistakes. I don't want that to happen again. But was it Edison said that he found 1,000 ways how not to make a light bulb?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can imagine him with these 1,000 pages and
Yeah.
saying, look, there's a page there. That's definitely don't make a light bulb that way. There's another one. Don't make it that way. And
Yeah.
and that's what he maintained. There was 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb, and then
Yeah.
he found the way that you could make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he used that as an experience. He even changed his language around his, if you want to call them mistakes. He changed his language around that
Yeah.
because he learned how not to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he did learn.
Yeah.
And we get through life, John, and we do mess up. We do make mistakes. Now, instead of beating ourselves up and feeling guilty about them, why not learn? Well, that's not done.
Yeah.
But how can I do it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you have that mindset, you make less and less mistakes throughout your life.
Yeah. Yeah. You're passionate about coaching now, Kenny. I mean, because your previous existence was in the construction industry, but now you're passionate about coaching, the coaching journey.
Yeah, well, everything, construction was fantastic for me. You know, it was in ever since it was, fuck. I used to work in my dad's factory, you know, as soon as I was allowed to go up into it. And he made precast concrete. So I've been there all my life. I left school at 16 and served my time as a joiner. I was a hands-on learner. Went through the old apprenticeship route.
Yeah.
Enjoyed construction because you get measurable results.
Yeah.
I love to see, like, I can still drive around here in Northern Ireland, and there's about 950, maybe almost 1,000 homes that I've been personally involved in that I can still drive around and see them.
Yeah.
There's apartments in Belfast that I've got involved with, 2 or 3 different blocks of apartments where I was physically working on them at 6:30 in the morning, bringing in concrete. And when you get a drawing, when you get a concept, we call it a plan for a reason, because it is a plan. It's not actualized yet.
Yeah.
And when we have that plan, 2-dimensional plan, and within a few months, you can actually have that as a 3-dimensional real building where you're handing over a set of keys to someone.
Yeah.
There is a plan which has reached its full vocation. It's come right through the process.
Yeah.
And even that's where I am with the emotional intelligence. I use EQ assessments, and I actually measure people's emotional intelligence before we start working with them.
Yeah.
And there's ways to do that. The same way you can measure your intelligence quotient, IQ.
Yeah.
We can also measure your emotional quotient.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's great to be able to have a client comes to you, you do the measurement, you do the work with them, they can reset their test or whatever, and it is measurable. But not only is it measurable on paper, their behaviors change in their life. They're making better decisions, they're making more money.
Yeah.
There was a lady came to me, it was last year, and she had the dilemma through time management and different ways to do things within her own industry, that her sales increased by 40%.
Wow.
Now, this caused her a slight problem, although it's a great problem to have. She was now up into the realms of going into the VAT threshold, which she didn't particularly want to do. But that's not a terrible problem to have, having to pay VAT because you're earning so much.
Yeah.
But that was one of her problems, and her business increased to 40%. Now I said, well, what do you want out of your business? Why are you working so hard? And she says, I want to work so hard so I can take time off.
Yeah.
That woman, instead of taking her 40% salary increase or business turnover, she bought 2 days of her time.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah.
So she only works 3 days a week.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
She manages her time. She gets her work done in 3 days. And what she has done at this time, instead of waiting until she's 65 and retiring, she is now working, and she's working hard now 3 days. There's no question about it. But she has bought 2 days off in her life.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's a fantastic result. Yeah. So that's what people can get who come work for you, Kenny. They can get their time back.
Of course, they come down and they can learn about efficiency. They can learn about, the making the decisions and getting the results with a lot more clarity. Making decisions based on fact.
Yeah.
Not on emotion.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who, one of the emotions that we would have, and one of the big ones would be anger.
Yeah.
But how many times have you heard someone in business say, I'll never work with him?
Yeah.
Because, and they'll come up with some reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now they're allowing an emotion to come into their practice.
Yeah.
Where they're not making a business deal. Now there may be a moral issue there, which is fine.
Yeah.
But to have a prejudice towards someone for whatever reason, what that prejudice may be. There's a lot of people who they're hard workers, but they won't ask for the work. There's so many salesmen out there who don't close the deal simply because they don't ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the person that they've been selling to for maybe days, weeks, could be months, they have never ever been asked for the sale, for the purchase.
Yeah. I think it's often just an emotional block that's, it's just a judgment, if you like, about some other person, which is.
Yeah. So, one of my tags is I make the invisible visible for my clients.
Yeah.
So when they come to me and they're not performing, well, one of my jobs is to go with them and find out what that stoppage is, what that blockage is.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the reason?
Yeah. Who would your ideal client be now, Kenny? If I was to send you a client, who would your ideal client be?
My ideal client would be someone who is willing to make change. Someone who is willing to do something different. Wayne Dwyer said, if you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So when someone comes to me, first of all, they have to be willing to change their behavior. And I mean by behavior, their business practice.
Yeah.
They have to be willing to do that, because by doing that, they will bring in a different result. Yeah. They have to be able to drop the lies that is within their beliefs.
Yeah.
And whether that be a confidence thing. But that's who my client would be. Someone who's feeling a wee bit stuck. Someone who feels that they're not achieving as much as what they could be achieving. Because all we have to do is to look at the competition.
Yeah.
And we look at our competition, and if they're doing better than us, well, why are they doing better than us? There's a reason for that.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my typical client.
Yeah.
I do work in the 3 different arenas. I work in the sports arena as well. I've sent boxers over to Las Vegas last year for the St. Patrick's Day fights. I've been involved in the equestrian world with regards to the horse and rider. Now there's a nice concept. The horse and the rider of the horse, especially in dressage,
Yeah.
They have to be well tuned together, because the horse, of course, is picking up micro movements
Yeah.
and can actually feel the apprehension or feel the fear of the rider.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
So, you know, that was an interesting. I worked with one guy and they got through the counties, and then he went to the All Irelands, and he got an invite to the nationals. And on the back of that, there was, it wasn't this year, it was last year, maybe half a year before that. Every other client of mine was someone who was involved with dressage and horse riding.
All right. Brilliant. Yeah.
So I got through different wee levels of, depending on who I'm working with at the time. I work with a lot of students with regards to preparation for exams, memory retention, doing techniques. I work with, May time's a great time for school teachers, because now they're coming in for their job interviews for the next term.
Yeah.
Working with anyone in business themselves who just want to go the next step, push into the next level. So what's holding you back? And, you know, is it a belief system that they have? Is it financial? Well, whatever it is, we can work around those things. Also work with people with post-traumatic stress disorders, people who have had trauma in their life. That's what I started off as a mental health practitioner. So people with post-traumatic stress, people with traumas in their backgrounds, people who, you know, maybe just haven't finished that grieving process for someone who has died a few years back, and they've sort of frozen in time quite often. Listen, where the mindset is involved, that's where I can work with that person.
Super, Kenny. I'm conscious of time, Kenny. I know you've got an appointment. So where can people reach you, Kenny? What's your
Right, you can reach me. I'll give you my website, which is kenfalconer.com, FALCONER. So kenfalconer.com. You can reach me at info@kenfalconer.com. And you can reach me by mobile. Listen, if you type my name into Google, I should appear there on the first page. And if I don't, I need to see my CEO guy and make sure that happens, because that's where I was there just only a few weeks ago.
Good stuff. And you can also reach you now on Your Holistic Academy, of course, .com as well, because we've got the opportunity to work with you. And
absolutely. And I'm one of the members of the Your Holistic Academy. We're there, and this is a hub for like-minded people. All the different practitioners, all the different service providers are coming in there, and they've all got this mindset that change is important. We've got the mindset that, you know, if we want something different in our life, we're going to have to do something different. And, you know, Your Holistic Academy is this hub. It's almost like the center of a wheel, like a bicycle wheel, where you're in the middle and we are the spokes coming out of that. And people can tune in there. People can listen to these interviews. People can take part in the courses, which will be advertised in there as well. And, you know, anybody watching this, you know, tap the links above or below, wherever you're going to put them, John, and wherever I put them, and I'll put the link straight back in there. And, you know, if you're wanting to join Your Holistic Academy, the link will be there. And it's worthwhile for everyone throughout the whole world to have somewhere to come, because the world now, especially over the last 6 months, basically is a Zoom call away.
And we're connecting people, Kenny, around the world, and that's I mean, a community of holistic people. Really, it's a brilliant project, and delighted to have you as part of it, Kenny. And as I said, I don't want to delay your X-ray appointment. So thank you very much for your time today. It's been great conversation, Kenny. Thank you.
Okay, John, thanks very much for having me on. And yes, I'll head on to about 10 minutes away now from the appointment.
Nice.
Okay.
Thanks, Kenny.
Right. Thank you very much, John. Thank you.